I went from 130 pounds to over 200 pounds. I actually got to 215 from the time I was 14 years old to the time I was 20. I made a ton of mistakes doing that. I'll flash some pictures here so you can see what I look like, but I made a ton of mistakes doing it. So I want to redo this for you. So if you want to go from 130 to 200, I'm going to walk you through step by step what you need to do right now. And I'm going to break this up into two parts. So part one, we're going to discuss nutrition because nutrition is the most important part. 80% of your results, maybe even 90, are going to come from what you eat. So we got to talk about the nutrition stuff first. And then part two of this video, which will be halfway through, we're going to talk about what I did workout wise. So I made a lot of mistakes doing this. In the beginning, I thought if I just ate healthy and I just ate just like the other bodybuilders, if I just ate chicken and rice and vegetables, I was going to get huge and I was going to get massive. And the fact is that didn't happen. I was a real skinny kid. I had a very, very fast metabolism. So I was not gaining anything. Nothing happened probably for the first year and a half. I mean, I did get some like results working out, but I got nothing as far as like anywhere close to where I got to on the scale. Like nothing, like minimal. And because I wasn't eating enough. So what you need to do is we're going to start with the nutrition end first. So what we need to do is we need to first and foremost, we got to focus on what our body sees to dictate gaining muscle. And what our body sees to gain muscle is calories in. That's the most important part, especially when you're starting out and you have a fast metabolism. If you're like me and you have a fast metabolism, you have to start with calories. You have to be meticulous the same way you would track your workouts and be diligent with your workouts. You have to do the same thing with nutrition. And I made that mistake in the beginning. Like I said, I didn't know. I thought if I just ate oatmeal for breakfast, I was going to gain tons of muscle. And that didn't happen at all. So what we need to start with is calorie intake. So we need to start with how many calories do you actually need? So what I would recommend is, because in the beginning, you're going to get what's considered newbie gains, and you're going to be able to gain muscle fast because we're going to start you off on the right track. What you need to do is figure out and start with this amount of calories. And I would recommend downloading a food tracker. There's so many of them now. I didn't have any apps or anything when I started. So when I actually started counting macros, probably back in 2005-ish, we had to use paper and pen for everything. It was the most annoying thing. But now with smartphones, you can use your phone and pull all these stuff up. So you got to be diligent with tracking your calories every day. Now, I would also tell you that there was days where I would consume a lot of calories and days where I wouldn't consume any calories because I burned through calories so fast. I needed so many. I wouldn't be hungry, so I would actually eat less. So this led me to spin my wheels over and over and over again. And it's not a fun place to be in. So let's figure out how many calories should you start with. So if you just weigh 130 pounds, like I said, or somewhere in the middle, and you want to gain a lot of muscle, what you need to start with is a moderate and a slight surplus in calories. The reason why I would start you with a slight surplus and not like an extreme amount is because in the beginning, you're going to be able to put on muscle and burn fat at the same time. So you're going to alter your body composition pretty quickly. You don't need a lot of calories to do that. Now, I'm going to explain when you are going to need those boosts in calories, and we'll get there. So first and foremost, you're going to just take your body weight, so 130 pounds, and you're going to multiply that by 16. That's going to give you a rough idea of how many calories you need baseline to start putting on muscle mass. So whatever that number is, you're going to start doing that right away and track 7 days a week of eating those calories. If you have a little more, okay. If you have a little less, all right. But you want to be in that ballpark every day. And in this case, when it comes to protein, we're just going to use body weight times 1. Very, very simple. So if you weigh 130 pounds, 130 grams of protein. Very simple. We'll just keep that standard across the board. But the calories are what's going to cycle. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to ride that calorie intake out for as long as you possibly can. If you go from 130 on that calorie amount, from 130 to 200, you never have to change it. You're lucky. We hit it on the head the first chance. But you want to ride that out as long as you can. All right? So the first things first, we're going to take that calorie number that we figured out, body weight, 130 in this case, times 16. That's going to give us our starting calories. And I want you to do that for roughly anywhere between 16 to 52 weeks. That's right. This is going to be your first bulk put on muscle. You don't need to be in a calorie deficit right off the jump. We want to take advantage of the newbie gains that you're going to get. So we want to take advantage of that. We want to ride that out as long as possible. In the beginning, I made this mistake by one, jumping from program to program, and two, never actually being in a calorie surplus for a long enough period of time. It's okay if you put on a little bit of body fat. We could take that off pretty easily later, and I'm going to explain that in a second. But you need to be there. Now, let's say you follow this calorie intake for about 16 weeks, 4 months, and the weight's just like stalled. Let's say you got to 150 and the weight kind of stalled and it's not really moving so much, and maybe you're even losing a little bit of weight, like I said, which is good. What you're going to do next, I would actually even I'm going to change this. You're going to, at the 24-week mark, you're going to evaluate this. Okay, where are you at? Gaining weight, not gaining weight? Where are you going with this? Like, where are you at? Are you kind of plateaued at this point? Then if you hit that 24-week mark and you're going good, keep riding it out. If not, what you're going to do is you're going to bump your weight gain up to what I consider a moderate weight gain. Or you're going to do calories times body weight times 18. So if you weigh, at this point, 150 pounds times 18, that's your new calorie number that you're going to stick with. And you're going to ride that out again as long as possible. The main thing is you're going to keep going through bulks until you get to a certain stage. In the beginning, it's better to bulk straight because you're going to take advantage of the first year of training and getting your body to that new levels of muscle mass. You're going to take advantage of that. Do not diet during this time. It will kill your gains. So you're going to do that, like I said, as long as you can. Now, if on the other side of it, if you're a really fast ectomorph and you just, for whatever reason, like let's say you start at that 16 or 18 calorie mark and you're losing weight, you need to bump that up. And if you're going with an extreme weight gain, you're going to times your body weight times 22. And that'll give you enough calories to go. But anyway, your first bulk is going to be anywhere, like I said, between 24 and 52 weeks. Now, once you've reached a level of body fat that is too high, now it's okay to be uncomfortable. You want to kind of be a little bit uncomfortable because at this stage, you're gaining muscle. You're doing everything right. It's okay to put on a little bit of body fat. But once you've reached that 52-week mark of doing this consistently, of tracking every day, of putting on muscle, what you're going to do now is you're going to switch and you're going to transition to cuts because we want to pull off some of that body fat that we accumulated during this time. But the key is we're going to keep those cuts short. So we're looking at 8 to 12 weeks of a cut. So quick cuts. You're going to get in, get out, get in, get out. You're going to get in, pull off some of that body fat that you gained, right back to bulking. Okay? And the reason why we want to do that is this way we could pull off the body fat quick and continue to gain muscle. So when we do this, we're going to times our body weight at the moment by 12. And that's going to give you a good enough calorie limit where you're going to be burning enough body fat but not losing any muscle, and it's not too much of an extreme approach. So you're just going to keep cycling between that until you get to the weight that you want to be at, 200, 210, whatever that number is. But you're going to start there. Now, let's shift over to the remaining percentage when it comes to this, which is training. I made so many mistakes when training, so many. I jumped from program to program. I listened to the science-based guys. I listened to the pro bodybuilders who did things once a week. So you can't do that. Once a week is not optimal for gaining muscle, especially for a natural. So you need to be training at least twice a week. Now, this is a structure that I would recommend you follow when it comes to your training. First things first is we need to build the base of support. We got to take those extra calories that you're taking in and we got to build a base of muscle. And we're going to do that by building a base of strength. In the beginning, strength is very, very important. As you advance in your fitness career and you become more advanced, you don't need the strength as much. It's not as important. But in the beginning, you need to be building up quality strength. You can't be focusing on, oh, my middle delt and my back, my rhomboids, my middle traps. None of that stuff matters. You need to focus on the basic movement. So I would recommend starting with my strong program. You can pick that link below, but basically you're going to focus on gaining strength in 3 areas: in the bench press, which is going to cover your whole upper body, okay? Overhead press, which is really important for the other upper body. Then we got squats, base support, and then we have deadlifts and RDLs, that posterior chain. You're going to focus on getting stronger with that. Focus on your form, because that's very important as well. We want to prevent injuries. So you're going to start with the strong program, and then what you're going to do is you're going to cycle through the strong program. Once you complete 12 weeks of the strong program, then you're going to go into my hypertrophy program. And this program is just going to be based on pure building muscle, putting more muscle on. You're going to go through that program for 12 weeks. Then what I would recommend is switching to a specialized routine. So let's just say between that 24 weeks of time, your body's starting to develop, you're developing good strength, everything's coming up, but you start noticing that your arms are lagging behind. So in this case, I would pick up my arm program, run my arm program. I would run that at least 4 times a year sprinkled in between. So we're going to run a specialized program to bring up that lagging body part, and then you're going to start over again with the strong program. And the reason why I like to cycle it like this is because we keep building a base of strength, we add more muscle to that strength, we focus on those little bit of weak points, and then you cycle back to it and do it again. Doesn't matter if you're cutting, bulking, whatever, your weight training portion of it, your strength training, your routine doesn't change. The thing that's going to change the most is your calorie levels and those things that we talked about earlier. So if your goal is to get from 130 to 200, or exactly how I did it, if I could go back in time and talk to myself and coach myself how to do this, those are the step-by-step directions that I would take to get there. So if you want help with any of this, if you want me to coach you and help you get to that next level, just click the links below. You'll find everything there. You'll find the programs. You can even find the diet book on how to set all this up. But until next time, this was Anthony, AB Fitness Center. I'll catch you on the next one. If you enjoyed this, drop a like, a comment, and if you are looking for a coach and a nutritionist, visit our profile. We would love to help you out today.